So I just want you to do your humble brag
Well,
for
I mean, just
everyone.
okay, maybe 6,000 is an exaggeration, but I'd say for a long time I could at least remember details about some details about the drink, like what happened when you first got on. You said Boulevard, and I say, oh, Kansas City, and like, oh, I can tell you when I was there, when I visited the Boulevard Brewery in Kansas City, I had Tank 7 and I had a Love Child's sour. So like for most of the check-ins I had, I can at least remember a detail about them or two
Yeah.
until the last 1,000 or so. And
Wait, is it that there's too many, like it's overload, or is it like they just haven't been as good as the first
oh no, too many.
too many?
Yeah, I just can't remember all these now.
Yeah. All right, fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah,
Even Matt's memory has limits.
I mean, he was, when before he got on, Ethan Collins was like, I've got a beer from Boulevard, and I just said Kansas City.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely not doubting your knowledge because, as I said last week, it's thoroughly impressive and continues to be. I just was like, oh my god, that's hilarious. That you're like so good. Well, let's keep talking about beer since we're talking about beer. And as Matt was saying, I'll kick it off this week. I'm drinking a Blue Money Blueberry IPA from Boulevard Brewing Company in Kansas City, Kansas. No, I'm just kidding. That's only what the former president thought. Kansas City, Missouri.
There's a Kansas City, Kansas.
Yes, I know. But that's not the team that won the Super Bowl.
Oh.
Do you guys not remember that?
I don't remember that.
Oh, my God.
I mean, isn't it the Los Angeles Rams, the team that won the Super Bowl right now?
No. I'm talking about Trumpy saying in, what was it, 2020 when the Chiefs won the Super Bowl? And he tweeted out something like, congratulations to the great state of Kansas.
Classic. And he was the fucking president of this country.
Yeah.
Anyway, real quick, you can see it's
Hey.
looking. And yep, I got the two jocks in a schlub glass. Shout out to Aunt Kayla, as Stella loves to say. Aunt Kayla, where's Aunt Kayla? That's like her new favorite thing. So it's okay. It's definitely fruitier than I expected it to be.
I'm curious, do you get an artificial flavor or no?
I don't think so.
Because unfortunately, when you're a brewery that gets to scale size, and I'll pick on Leinenkugel, which when I was getting into craft beer, I really, really liked. I'll shit on them now because I'm a craft beer snob and say that, well, they're owned by Miller, but they make, in their defense, they make a lot of beer that people like. But I remember touring their brewery right after I graduated college, and they're like, oh, we're making the Blackberry Raz today, and it's like a driveway sealant bucket of like raspberry extract flavor, and it's like, oh, that just looks like chemicals you're dumping in, and pretty much was. But again, shout out to Leinenkugel, because still remember at Lounge Leo, the bar I used to frequent when I was a college kid, always had Sunset Weed on tap, and man, that tasted like Fruity Pebble beer. That was delicious stuff. So R.I.P. Mike at Lounge Leo, and shout out to the Cleveland Old Man Bar crew.
Did you break the streak tonight, Matthew?
Oh yeah, I've been back drinking now, so I'd say my flavor and smell are gradually returning.
Nice,
good.
Finally, today was the first day at work, and for those who don't know, I work at a dirt factory that takes a lot of compost from the area. One of the odd results, side effect results of COVID was, until today, for the last week and a half, all of the mushroom compost you received just smelled like rotten eggs to me. And it was the most terrible, worst thing. Like, it just, oh man, today was the first day that I didn't smell rotten eggs all day at work.
Oof.
So I will take that as a sign that things are continuing to come back, and my taste is slowly returning as well. So I'm happy. Now I've got a beer as we were joking earlier, I'm drinking more and more weird stuff now. I've got one called Manhattan Bound Local F Train from Finback Brewery. Now I have heard of, well, I've had a lot of Finback beers. They're in Queens. Never made it there, but they are, I'd say, one of the better brewers in New York City that they just don't get the press that a lot of others do. So I'd say they're almost as good as someone like Other Half. They just don't get the press. So happy to try their stuff. They do occasionally have can drops down in the Philly area, and I'm always happy to pick up something fresh from them. So
nice,
pretty tasty.
All right, 2 out of 3 so far ain't bad. Club's got.
I'm back on my my treehouse stash. Having my second can of I think one of the best beers I've ever had. King Julius with 3 J's and 3 S's.
I almost grabbed that tonight.
Yeah, I decided because it's already. I should have, like, in terms of freshness, I was tempted to just drink both of them like right away, but I also wanted to have one for later, because that first one I had, it was like so fucking good. But yeah, I decided, especially because I'm going to Europe on Saturday, I was like, gotta drink this one before I go for sure. And yeah, it's really, really good.
I mean, so since you were talking about Untapped, so that one of the other features that you can go on Untapped is on the homepage, you can go into top rated beers and you can look at the top rated beers locally. And then you can also, if you unselect nearby, you can look at the top 50 beers in the country. And so, Ethan, the reason I was really, really, really hoping that you went to Treehouse that day is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15th. King Julius is listed as the 15th highest rated beer by all the neckbeard beer nerds
on Untapped
out there. So, and it's the highest rated IPA.
Yeah, and it's amazing. Yeah.
So that was pure luck. And then you mentioned, like, I asked you and then I forgot, and then you mentioned that you were going, and then I looked at the menu and I almost shat myself because we got like 3-day-old King Julius. So,
yep.
And the next day I was picking it up from you in New Jersey.
Yep. So, yeah, it was pretty great. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's pretty neat. It's neat to see that list if you guys have the Untapped app and ever want to play around, because there's definitely some really good beers there. There's also beers on there though that I wonder if they're there only because they're hard to get.
Yeah.
And is it as good as people say, or is it on there because it's just really rare?
Kind of the novelty of it.
Yeah, it's a flex. It's like it's like NFL players showing off their money, or rookies showing off their money when they get their signing bonus. It's like beer nerds saying like, "Oh, look what I tried that you can't get," like that kind of bullshit.
Right.
And you never want. No one ever wants to wait 5 hours in line to then get a beer that tastes shitty. So there could be some artificial rating inflation there. Right? You think about that. Oh, I spent 5 hours and this beer sucks. Like, no one ever wants to do that.
Yeah.
And I've been victim of that. I've waited a couple releases just to get the beer and go, nah, that was a mistake.
Yeah.
But anyway,
cool.
I digress.
Well, boys, I have something interesting. And friend of the podcast, Devin Conley, if you are listening, you'll have to keep listening, but we're going to talk about football because football is starting. And I have something really interesting for all three of us to talk about. I think it's really interesting and fun, and we'll talk about it in a second. But before then, we have some catching up to do. There's a couple things that we should talk about. Okay, the first. Let's talk about. Where do we want to start? Okay.
Well, let me say this, Brother Danny. Thanks for hunting down that article.
Yeah.
I haven't read it yet, but I'm actually really psyched to read it.
Is this the physics one?
The physics one from the University of Illinois, which is coincidentally, I believe, Ethan knows something from the University of Illinois.
Yes, I was going to tell you guys this because the reason I had texted Colin and asked to find it, because for whatever reason I couldn't find it on Facebook again, is because University of Illinois Physics Department is where my partner got her PhD. Now, she never took a class with this guy, but he is well known, like as like the physicist who does baseball stuff. And we went to his website that night, actually, after I had talked to you guys about it. And his website is like crazy intense. He has done like all the crazy physics you can imagine. And so, anyways, we might be able to get him on the pod if we wanted to. I don't know, because of that connection. I don't know. Would we want to talk to a physicist about baseball?
Yeah.
It could be kind of fun, right? But so
you say yes right now, Ethan, and we'll have majority.
Oh, I mean, I'm down. I think it'd be fun. Yeah. So I gotta, we'll see. The connection helps, even though she doesn't know him, but it's possible. And my understanding is that he's kind of a nice guy, and he clearly loves baseball to an absurd degree. So, it seems like he could be the type of person that would talk to three randos and just so he can like talk excitedly about physics and baseball, right?
Yeah, if he's got any publications, we can have him pitch it too, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but it's interesting you brought that up too, because so my partner and I had a whole long conversation that night about what we had talked about on last week's pod, about the ideas of launch angle and exit velo and all of that kind of stuff, which we can talk about a little bit later if we want to. But like super interesting. Really, I don't know. I think it's like super fun to think about all of that stuff and how it relates to sports. But in any case, yes, thank you, brother Dan. And I thought that was awesome that it was, because actually she had told me about him before, and I can't remember if I had told you guys, but so I thought that was hilarious that was the link he had found.
I think it's destiny. He's got to come on now.
Yeah, right, exactly.
So make it happen.
All right,
don't hold your breath, people. It'll probably be like 5 months until it actually happens in Ethan time.
Right, but that's true. Yes, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Good stuff. All right. So you guys know Pujols has been on a tear, right?
Yeah, what was he up to? 694?
694, 690. Yeah, I think he's 2 away from A-Rod.
Yeah.
So last week we were talking about the media and kind of how fishy they can be sometimes, and they have terrible takes and everything. Well, I have railed, at least privately, on Barstool pretty hard in the past. I don't know if we've gotten into it on this podcast before, but yesterday there was from the Starting Nine, which is a MLB podcast hosted by Jake Arrieta, who's obviously a Cy Young Award winner, and Barstool Carl. I don't know who that is, but it's a Barstool podcast. And the headline for either the article or the podcast where they're talking about Albert says, "This Albert Pujols hot streak feels fishy."
Okay.
And like immediately, former major leaguers, current major leaguers start commenting on it. Will Middlebrooks had one of the best ones. He said, "This is comical. The juice must only work against left-handed pitching. He has a 1.231 OPS versus left-handed pitching. Versus righties, it's just a 0.627.
Yeah.
And like, he only plays against left-handed pitchers. Like it's not like he's out there doing something crazy. They knew he could hit left-handed pitchers. They knew he didn't have to play first base. They have the designated hitter. Like, why can't we just enjoy something? Why does it have to be this angle of like Albert Pujols is on steroids or something like that? Like, or he's juicing his bat or whatever. Like,
also steroids don't work like that. Like, what did he just decide at the All-Star break? Like, hey, I'm gonna take some steroids.
Yeah.
Mid-season push.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
so dumb.
Now, while you bring that up, though, I did go down a bit of a wormhole earlier with talked about it before. Baseball doesn't exist. Specifically, it was the article was entitled "Baseball has a steroid problem again," and it was in the context of Tatis. And kind of picking apart. They gave equal weight to that. His excuse could be correct, but also it could be a load of bullshit.
It is a load of bullshit.
They talked through a couple different really interesting statistics. Number one, where since I think 2017, 80% of positive tests have been Dominican players. And they talked about the ease of getting steroids. Essentially, imagine if we could just go to Walgreens and buy steroids. Like that's how it is in the Dominican. You don't need a prescription. You can just go to the store and get it. So despite being only 10% of players in the league, they comprise 80% of steroid positive tests. The other thing that they brought up, which I forgot, is that the MLB during the lockout couldn't test players.
Right.
So they're talking about that could be part of the uptick in positive tests. And I didn't realize still that how hard it is to test positive for HGH too. And they brought up that A-Rod was the only one who's ever been suspended for HGH, but he didn't actually test positive for it. And even though the major leagues uses a more sophisticated measure for detecting that, it's still very, very hard to find. Oddly enough, they talked about the protocols in the MLB or the NBA and the NFL and how comically bad they are. And
nobody gives a shit.
How easy it is to take HGH in the NBA because you're not allowed to be tested, blood tested on a game day before your game. And what if you are notified after the game, you have up to 90 minutes before you have to submit your sample. So they talk about how you could set up a doping schedule where if you dope at midnight before the game and your game's at 8:00 the next day, you've given yourself 21 and a half hours, 22 and a half hours at least before the blood test is able to be taken. And the NBA uses a less sophisticated blood test that couldn't have detected after 18 hours anyway. Yeah. So interesting stuff there, but I don't know. I didn't know what to think about Tatis because they kind of gave both sides some credence, but a lot of doctors kind of came out and said that was a load of bullshit. And that steroid specifically used to be very hard to test for, and it gives mild performance enhancements. So it looks pretty bad. And I forgot that Tatis had his whole shoulder dislocation 5 times in a season and refused to get the surgery the team recommended, and then went home that off season and crashed his motorcycle and broke his wrist and didn't tell the team. I forgot all about all of that. And then when he was asked about his motorcycle crash, he said, "Which one?" So that kind of opened my eyes. He's got $340 million guaranteed. I bet the Padres feel kind of stupid now.
It's super depressing. Kyle, I definitely want to hear your thoughts on this, but it's because we didn't actually get into this on the pod yet, did we? Or in our, privately in our texting and anything. It's super depressing for baseball because it's to Colin's point and what Matt was kind of saying too. In basketball and football, this shit just never happens, right? We don't hear about it because people just don't care. And we've talked about this before, I think, on the pod. The idea that NBA and NFL players are totally clean is the stupidest shit I've ever heard in my life, right? And so for whatever reason, and when it comes to sports fans, they care desperately when it comes to baseball, and they don't give a shit about football and basketball, which is just really kind of frustrating, the inconsistency of that. But we got to, put that aside for now and just think from a purely baseball perspective. The fact that Fernando Tatis, one of the most exciting, talented young players in the game, has made a series of boneheaded moves, right? It just doesn't look good. I mean, he's supposed to be one of the faces of the fucking sport for the next decade. And so to have a year like this, multiple motorcycle accidents, not telling the team about it, then testing positive for steroids, coming out with a, relatively lame excuse, right? And I mean, the thing about that, my thought on it, and this is pretty much what Joe Paz talked about. And of course, I pretty much always agree with him. But this idea that and athletes do this all the time, right? Where at least baseball players, they'll be like, "Oh, it was by accident. I didn't know it was in this thing that I was taking." It's are you kidding me? You're one of the greatest athletes in the world. You have a private staff of medical people on your team. You're constantly being evaluated. Everything you are imbibing, you fucking know, right? So this idea of taking some sort of medicine and not knowing what's in it, it just seems very silly.
That's the Barry Bonds flaxseed defense.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know the flaxseed oil. No, you didn't. Like,
yeah,
and they did acknowledge that, and baseball doesn't exist. They said, all you needed to do was call your team doctor.
yeah,
Take
exactly.
2 minutes and be like, can I take this anti-ringworm cream? And he'll be like, fuck no,
Yeah,
don't do it.
yeah, exactly. And so so either one, he did that and he knew that it had that it had the steroid and he was just hoping to get away with it, or two, he just like actively decided not to like ask the team doctor and to just take something from another doctor and just not even think about it, in which case he's being a fucking moron. So like he looks bad regardless, I think. And so that's why, right? That's why it sucks for baseball. Because the dude is so talented, he's so good. I remember looking, like, we don't realize this because he had, like, what did he play? Kind of a full season last year. But other than that, he's been up for like short stints, right? But if you look, I'm going to pull it up right now. If you look at his 162 game average based on everything he has done thus far. So last year, 130 games, right? So not quite what we would consider a full season, but decent. And then 84 games in 2019, 59 games in 2020. If you look at the 162 game average, it's fucking.
It was only a 60-game season,
right? So yeah, but still, for our purposes, right? We don't count that a full season. Yeah. But 162 game average, 125 runs, which is amazing. 33 doubles, which is excellent. 5 triples, which is very good. 48 homers, 31 stolen bases, a 965 OPS, and a 160 OPS plus. That's his 162 game average so far in his career. He's fucking 22. So the fact that all of this is happening, like, the dude is clearly amazing. I mean, those numbers are, if he put up numbers like that for a few years, I mean, that's Pujols, Trout, Bonds level. Like, that's incredibly good. And so, yeah, just really depressing all around.
Yeah. And that's where analytics can get you in trouble because he's never actually done it. That's just projections. Also, especially baseball players, I think they need better crisis managers. Like, the excuses they come up with are terrible. But I also think that there's a little bit of the Alex Rodriguez, what we were talking about, like him and Jeter and, that whole thing. Like, he's 22.
Yeah,
like,
right. He's a kid.
You have to put that into. I mean, you're going to have your opinions no matter what, right? Like, we're not here to try to change people's opinions, but we are here to offer some context, and that is part of the context. He's a 22-year-old person who's going to make some dumb decisions. I'm not excusing it. I'm not condoning it. I'm just saying he does have a chance to rebound from this.
Yeah,
I think there is a chance where he does turn into a Trouty or something like that, and can be serviceable and will be a really great teammate, but he's definitely dug himself a hole, and that's really sad because, like you said, Ethan, like, he's supposed to be one of the faces of baseball, and he hasn't played the entire season. So,
I mean, as I said before, though, I never made any bad choices as a 22-year-old.
Sticking to that.
Just kidding.
All right, let's move to something funny. Have either one of you seen the Jumbotron thing that happened in Milwaukee the other day? With the
yes, I did.
You gotta look it up. It's hilarious. So there's 2 parts to this. So the board that like shows all the birthdays and the anniversaries and things like that at a game. And there's this one section that says, "Mark, your friendship means the world to me. Let's not wreck it."
Oh my God, really?
If that wasn't bad enough, after the game is over, Christian Yelich tweets and he goes, "We're down 2 in the 8th inning. The dugout looked up, saw this, and said, Let's win one for Mark. We got you, man."
Did they win?
Did they win?
I have no idea.
So, first of all, for Mark, that's a horrible, horrible way to be rejected. That sucks. Poor guy. But getting shouted out by Christian Yelich is kind of cool. I don't know if it balances out the rejection, but and the style of rejection. I mean, holy fuck. Really?
It's so public.
Wow. That's hilarious, though.
Now, speaking of public acts at baseball stadiums, though, on the complete other end of the spectrum, did you guys see what happened in Toronto? A couple was
No.
caught. They snuck all the way up to the top corner of the Sky Dome seats where they thought they were out of view and decided to have some public fun with each other.
Oh my
I
goodness.
heard this
They got-
happened in Oakland too a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, and they got escorted from the stadium.
Holy shit.
Wow.
That takes some chutzpah, I'll say that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now,
I saw that happen in Oakland because they were making a bunch of jokes about how they scored more than the A's do.
That's good. I like that.
Wow, happening
Holy
all
shit.
over. Who
Wow.
would've thought?
Oh my god. So funny.
All right.
From what I heard, they didn't get arrested in Toronto, so good for them.
That's Canada. Yeah,
Yeah.
different laws.
Yeah. Wow.
All right, one more baseball thing, and then we're going to talk about football. Matt, you had sent the text last night that there are only 7 players in Major League Baseball history to have 50 homers before September. One of those players is the Yankees' Aaron Judge. The other really cool stat with Judgy, since he's now up to 51 homers going into tonight, there are only 10 players in Major League Baseball history to have multiple 50 home run seasons. Do you want to try and guess who the craziest name on this list is?
Multiple 50 home run seasons.
Multiple 50 home run
The
seasons.
craziest name. Yeah. Let us guess. I like this.
Yeah.
So
and I guess I'll give you a little bit of a prepper. I don't know, but it's actually not as crazy as like Luis Gonzalez's name being on the
other one.
The 7 players before September to have 50 homer list.
Okay.
It's not Brady Anderson because he only had one.
He only
50
wants
home run season.
Cecil Fielder.
No, I think he only had one.
Okay.
This is tough
Well, he
because
definitely only had one.
Okay.
I was looking at 50 home runs because the Yankees have a surprising number of 50 home run seasons.
Oh, I had a cool Yankee one too. Matt, where are you going though?
Oh, just that they've got a lot.
Oh, okay.
Like, more than a lot of other people.
Ruth has a lot.
Yeah.
And Gehrig.
Yeah. Actually, not Gehrig.
No, not Gehrig. Yeah, I was just gonna say he's not even on the list.
Yeah.
Is it like Frank Thomas or Juan Gonzalez?
Neither one.
Good guesses. Is it
You got to go back.
Jimmy Fox, something like that?
Jimmy Fox is on the list, but he's not the surprise.
Okay.
Well, at least to me, he's not the surprise.
Yeah. Harmon Killebrew?
Nope.
Who is the dude for the Cubs who has the record for RBIs? Hack Wilson.
Nope.
Okay.
All right,
I think
I'm not
he
gonna
hit
guess anymore.
I think he hit 50 once. Hold on.
So I'll start to name off some of the other people.
Yeah.
You already named off Fox, Ruth, obviously. Willie Mays, Mickey Mantle, McGuire, Griffey, Sosa. That's not surprising.
360 home run season.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And he never led the league.
Right.
Wait, is the surprise a person who did do it or a person who did not do it?
Who did do it?
Okay, because what I just thought of, and we'd have to double check, but did Bonds ever break 50 other than the year he hit 73? Yeah, that's pretty wild, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, that's fucking
Very
crazy.
wild.
Okay. Who
It's not
else?
Hammer and Hank.
Somebody like is it somebody like fucking like Willie Stargell or Willie McCovey? Something like that?
Now McCovey would have been a good guess.
Yeah.
A-Rod's on the list.
A-Rod's on the list, sure.
And
Homer
obviously
Bell.
Judge. Nope.
What about like fucking what was his name? Dale Murphy or like Dave Parker or Dave Kingman? Who was those guys back then? No?
All right, just
None of
give it
those.
up, Cal.
Mike Schmidt.
Nope.
Give
All
it up.
right, damn it. Yeah, give it up now.
Ralph Kiner.
Ah, fuck. I thought about going to Kiner. Damn it. That's some pretty impressive. Yeah. Yeah, the dude apparently had some insane power. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So before we go to football, we're off the next 2 weeks at least.
Mm-hmm.
And Judge has got 51 going into tonight. They're in Anaheim, so they're not playing as of yet. There's still a half hour or 20 minutes until the game starts. Predictions. What's the final number?
63.
What'd you say, Matt? 63? I was thinking about
That's
the
what he's
same.
on pace for right now. 63.
No. I was gonna say like 62.
hard.
Yeah.
Because like when he's not streaky like G, where like G hits every pitch out
Yeah.
when he gets hot. But like when he's hot, he'll hit like he's seems like he's getting into a hot streak now.
Yeah. I mean, it's like 3 games in a row, isn't it?
At least 2 games in a row.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you while you think, Colin. I did look up his spray chart on Baseball Savant today. He'll let it out anywhere you want.
Yeah. Anywhere.
It was impressive. Now,
And it looks easy.
The majority of his base hits go to left and left center.
Yeah.
But his home runs are everywhere, which is just frightening.
Yeah. It's really amazing. Yeah.
Yesterday's was an oppo. The night before was like what, dead center or something. I think
so.
Like
yeah.
Mm-hmm. The bomb.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say 65.
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking because it's so interesting. Like if he is getting into a hot streak, like I could see him getting into the upper 60s if it goes long enough. That's the thing. But if he all of a sudden turns cold and if people start walking him a bunch, that could stop him in his tracks, and then he might not even get 60.
Well, here's the real interesting thing, and we'll try not to get too nerdy about Yankees and lineups and things like that. And we will talk about football. But Benny hit a homer yesterday. And so they had DJ leading off, Benny hitting second, and Judge hitting third. They're doing it again tonight. And guess who's protecting Judge?
Gotta be
Rizzo or Stanton?
G?
G.
Yeah.
So I think G's the key to this.
Yeah.
Not only G staying healthy, but if G gets hot,
yeah.
Like, are you gonna walk around Judge?
You gonna walk both of them?
Yeah. Whatever. Like it's that part of it's really interesting to me. Like if he can figure it out for even just like a 2-week stretch, like he's done so many times in his career. But they were talking about that last night, like or I read about it this morning. I mean, they were like, the reason Judge is getting pitches to hit is it's just simply because G's back in the lineup. I mean, it's that simple. So imagine him getting hot.
Right. Oh my God, that'd be pretty amazing. Yeah.
So,
Matt,
can I say this? Just one of the things I was looking at today. Matt Carpenter is 8th on the team in WAR, and he's played in 47 games.
Unbelievable.
They were talking about how with G out, while G was out, when Carpenter went down, that essentially the protection was gone.
Yeah.
And so I started doing some digging today.
And like, Judge still has over 1,000 OPS.
Yeah. What was the last thing there, Matt?
Oh, just the Carpenter stat.
Oh, okay. Okay, I have one before we move to football real quick. So talking about 50 plus homers and the Yankees and all that. There are 3 people you guys probably saw this graphic. There are 3 people in Yankees history to have multiple 50 home run seasons. Babe Ruth, Mickey Mantle, Aaron Judge. Pretty fucking cool little trio.
Well, yeah. Well, A-Rod didn't do. One of them was in New York
with the Yankees.
Yes. With the Yankees. While with the Yankees. Yeah. So pretty awesome.
Yeah, very special. Really cool.
Yep,
for sure.
Yeah.
All right. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna have some fun. NFL football. I love college football. I know you guys don't give a shit. Penn State's gonna wreck Purdue tomorrow. That's what I'm hoping for. Let's talk about the NFL. I am going to assign each of us a topic to convince our listeners. Like we have to convince our listeners to be on our side of the topic that I assign you.
Okay.
So my topic is going to be, and I just switched this up in my head like 20 minutes ago, so I have not had time to think about it.
Sure.
I really did. My topic is going to be to convince people why the Green Bay Packers are going to win the Super Bowl this year.
Wow. Okay.
Matt's topic is going to be why Saquon Barkley is going to win not just comeback player of the year, but MVP.
Oh man.
And Ethan's topic is going to be why you should support the NFL and watch the NFL.
Oh God. Oh Jesus
so who
Christ.
wants to go first?
That's terrible. This is just terrible.
Okay, I got you. Keeping it simple. there's nowhere but up for the Giants offensive line. Like they can't get worse. They can only get better. Plus now, and this is actually an argument I was just as I was glancing through social media and sports, right? I mean, who are the Giants number 2 and number 3 backs, right? Essentially, they don't have a third down back. They don't have a feature back. It's going to be Barkley this year. It's just him. So he's going to get probably 80% of the touches from carrying the ball this year for the Giants. So he's going to get a lot. He'll get a lot more touches than he has in the past. They're not going to be babying him coming off his injury. The line has to get better, right? I mean, they have to get better. And I'd say he's got half a season under his belt of normal play, right? Coming since he came back last year. And I mean, he was touch and go last year where he would get like a couple games, he only got 8 or 9 touches, but so while I still will never say that he's a generational talent, I will say he's got to be in the top 5 this year at the very least. So is it tough for me to say MVP and comeback player of the year? Absolutely. Do I think it's in the realm of possibility? Absolutely. Especially after kind of that really, I mean, half season he had last year, right? Is that about right? Mm-hmm. And what else are the Giants going to do, right? Daniel Jones still can't throw the ball. So, I mean, they could be a New England Patriots playing the Buffalo Bills style offense. You know, Daniel Jones throws the ball 3 times and Saquon gets, 65 touches and they win the game. So, right.
That's legitimately got to be the 2 concerns, right? Is the line actually going to be any better? And will they score enough points in general to commit to running to the ball? Because that's what would happen so often last year is Barkley would get his 8 or 9 touches in the first half. They'd be down 3 touchdowns and he's not touching the ball the rest of the game, and so those are legitimate concerns I think to have.
Now my tough spot here is they didn't draft a lineman until the 4th round. Mm-hmm. Right? Am I looking at the right thing? Wide receiver, edge, cornerback, edge. No, did they draft a lineman at all this year? Oh, that's 2021. Okay.
Well, that's what I was gonna. Did they do anything to improve the line in general, like free agent signings, trades, anything?
Okay,
do we know?
Okay, 7th pick overall was an offensive tackle.
Okay.
67th pick overall was a guard.
Okay.
They got a San Diego State tight end in the 4th round, and then another guard in the 5th round.
Okay, so they were trying.
So there's some talent there. And the tackle, the 7th pick is coming out of Alabama. So, and he's got sport goggles on in the picture I'm looking at. So I'm saying that's a good draft move right there. Get the guy with sport goggles who played for Nick Saban.
Yeah. Okay, I like that.
So you got to hope that they get better. Now, again, I will say, and I wish I could find the blog where I read this first. There are, I really, really want you guys to be able to draft or to draft an argument that Saquon is the best in the league despite his line. I don't want to hear the line being used as a crutch because there's no good way to measure other than yards after first hit. Mm-hmm. So they looked at people like Nick Chubb or Derrick Henry, who were, I think there was one season where Chubb was averaging his first hit 1 yard deep in the backfield. And so they look at now, and again, to be fair, Saquon appeared on the list, but he wasn't toward the top. He was kind of in the middle in terms of give the guy a break. He can't even pass the line of scrimmage without being hit. So he is in the mix there, but I want to see him at the top. I do want to see him at the top. As much joy as I get making fun of the guy, I don't want to see him do poorly. I do want to see him do well.
Yeah.
Now I think he's still a smarter choice to stick with than Daniel Jones. We can get we can get into that sometime down the road. But
Yeah, so that's what I was going to ask when you were talking about that, Matt, is, like in baseball, we have like fielding independent pitching, we have various stats where you can really isolate things. In football is the best that we know of, at least off the top of our head, just the yards after first hit. Like there's no other way to isolate. I mean, I don't know. I guess it would be pretty difficult to do that.
unfortunately, even though both are team sports, baseball is so much more independent when you're at.
Yeah, right. True.
Whereas, if 2 out of 3 defensive linemen are in the backfield every time you're handing the ball off, that is going to affect how a running back, is able to
can do their job. Yeah.
Especially with, and this is with, I'll say, with the prevalence of zone reads now, that's even more difficult. Someone blowing up the play can really affect the zone read. Old blocking schemes where it was just like, you hit this hole. Like, okay, yeah, if you're supposed to hit the 3 gap on the right side, so it's odds on the right, evens on the left. If you're supposed to hit the 3 gap and someone on the left side of the line blows up the play, you're still going to be through that gap, and you're going to be down the field. But inside and outside zones, a lot of time rely on the play developing and the back actually reading where the hole is. So an outside zone, literally, I remember when they were trying to teach this concept to us, and this is why it's hard to do at lower levels. Like an outside zone, you are literally just stepping towards the hole and blocking whoever's in front of you. So if you've got a guy head up on you and you're running to your right and you step to the right and the guy heads up goes to your left, don't worry about him. He's the next guy down the line. He's his concern. You are looking for whoever's to your right toward the hole. And that's why it's hard to say, a specific, if you're running a zone read, there is no specific hole to run through. It's literally find a guy in the path of where you want to run the ball, and then the running back, his job is to let the play develop and find the hole. So, yeah, if the play is being blown up by 2 or 3 linebackers or linemen every play, it's hard to do a zone read, and that's what's prevalent in the NFL now.
Yeah.
So, I ended up making a stronger argument for Sasquatch than I wanted to, but
That was very good.
Also, I hope your Packers argument, Colin, is going to be that Aaron Rodgers is just going to be high all year on ayahuasca, and he's going to play out of his mind and not remember a single thing. Or argument number 2 should be that he's got no side piece to worry about anymore, so he can focus on football. Or number 3 should be that he's so focused on how much he looks like B-list movie stars that he might actually, channel some of that Nick Cage energy from Con Air and win a football game or 2, or win a fucking NFC championship game.
Well, funny enough, I was actually going to take the same angle that you took with the Giants offensive line and say, like, I mean, really, the only place to go is up for Aaron Rodgers and his legacy. He has less Super Bowl wins and less Super Bowl MVPs than Eli Manning. Let that sink in. Remember it. But this is the year. The NFC North is a joke. The NFC in general is wide open. Russell Wilson used to play for the Seahawks. Now he plays for the Broncos. You know who the Seahawks have starting as their quarterback? Geno fucking Smith. Like, come on. The NFC's terrible. Daniel Jones is starting in New York. Like
Tom Brady
looks like he's going to fall off a cliff. Dak Prescott gets hurt every other game. The Eagles never have a good quarterback. Like there's no competition. And so I think this is the year where, because of everything that you talked about, Matt, less distractions, wanting to prove people wrong, having the conference to himself, essentially, he's going to get a lot of rest at the end of the year because they're going to start the season like 14-1 or something like that. Lock it up real early, get some rest, old man Rodgers, and then when he needs to turn it up in the playoffs, he's going to have an Eli Manning like run where he just carries the Packers through the playoffs and does things that we've never seen before, because he's never done anything as incredible as Eli Manning in the playoffs.
I will say, I'll let those comments go, but I will say, um, they've got one of the best lines in the league despite their injury problems.
Yeah.
They've got a really powerful 1-2 back tandem with Jones and AJ Dillon. They've got a defense which last year and this year has finally been skilled enough to match the offense. I mean, the defense is finally living up to being a formidable unit. And all I'm looking for there is just give me a defense in the top 10. Like I don't need to be the Rex Grossman's Bears defense. I just need to be a top 10 defense. Really, the only question mark is wide receivers. Without Devontae Adams, he's got Sammy Watkins question mark. He's got or Randall Cobb question mark. He's got Alan Lazard, who they're saying he trusts and is going to step up into that major role. And then you've got kind of a lot of question marks in terms of rookies, first or second round, or first or second year guys. But that's it. Like,
yeah.
Come on, man.
He's gonna tap into his Eli Manning magic and make those receivers out to be like Plaxico Burress. And
yeah, but what's gonna happen is what they've like throughout this whole decade, they've traditionally had like the bottom 3 of special teams units every damn year, and that somehow costs us every damn year, whether it's if botching an onside kick recovery or not making field goals when you should, or like giving up 40-yard punt returns in NFL playoff games. Like it all, I mean, they got so much they need to fix, but on the special teams unit. So hopefully they can turn that around too.
Well, I'm personally looking forward to the Packers coming to Charlotte to play in the NFC Championship in January. And Matt, I will buy you a ticket. So
coming to Charlotte, you think Baker's that good, huh?
Oh, Baker, DJ Moore, that wide receiver they just traded for from Jacksonville. It's going to be a fun year.
You're not looking forward to the Packers Giants beatdown this year?
In what London? Week is it?
Oh, it's in London.
Oh, geez. No, I'm not looking forward to it at all. But
man, I just looked at Rodgers' stats, his career for the first time in quite a while. I mean, I know me and Colin specifically like to tease Matt and everything, but like, holy fuck, is he good? It's like really unbelievable to look at. I mean, if you look at like, especially if you just look at touchdowns and interceptions, I mean, it's like mind-bogglingly good, and it has been for over a decade. Like, holy shit, he's really incredible. And the fact that he was 38 last year, and he's like, the last 2 years, his age 37 and age 38 years, he's as good as he's ever been.
Yep.
It's like, wow. It's really, really impressive.
That's the maddening part. It's like, come on. Like, why can't we figure out everything else? Like,
yeah. Yeah, you guys are like, I mean, what is he? Like a top 3 quarterback of all time at this point? Would we like him and Brady and I don't know who else?
But like, I mean, you look at that's what's been tough is the number of NFC Championship games we've lost because of special teams blunder or him never getting to touch the ball. It's just
it's like the Angels wasting Trout and Ohtani.
It feels like it, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, at least they get to the playoffs. I don't know if that's
true.
Exactly.
That's true. Angels, it's worse. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Ethan, bring us home.
All right.
Why should we care about the NFL?
Gosh. I mean, you guys did a great job. I'm very impressed with both of you. I'm going to do my best here. The NFL, $1 billion juggernaut industry, most popular sport in the country by far. And that's for a reason, right? This isn't some schlub game. This is an exciting sport full of action, full of great personalities and characters. The athleticism is incredible. And actually, I'm not being sarcastic there. We are talking about truly amazing athletes. So if you want to see like the best athletes in the world perform amazing feats week in and week out, You know, the NFL is what you want to watch, right? That's these people, what they can do with their bodies, what they can do with their hands and their feet. It's truly amazing, truly incredible. And you know, it's you know, you're just a regular schmo like me, right? So don't worry about off the field stuff. Don't worry don't worry about Roger Goodell or the league and anything that may or may not have hidden about various you know, health issues or head injury issues. Don't worry about all that. You know, when you get home, it's the end of a long week, you know, and the weekend comes, you just want to have a beer with your friends and watch football. Forget about the rest of it. You deserve it. Just enjoy some football. Don't worry about anything else. It's all good.
You deserve it.
You know, that Ethan was spin like that. You should work in politics.
Oh, God. Oh, man.
To all of our listeners out there, that is like a really low blow for me to say that to Ethan. So
yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I already feel skeevy for saying that. So my apologies.
Yeah, that's like the worst thing I can imagine. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, being in politics, but
Like
you know,
I might as well have like punched your mom's cat or something. You know?
right? Yeah, but it is a fun exercise, actually, Colin. I'm really glad that you came up with this. It's a really fun exercise to have to argue for something that you really don't believe in. So yeah, that's very interesting and kind of thought provoking to do that. So yeah, good call.
I don't want Saquon to do bad. I just don't, you know.
I just don't want him to do good.
I just don't believe in Colin's faith in him.
Okay, and the other thing, I want to point this out. So yeah, Matt made his comments a little bit about Saquon, but I want to point out that, like, out of the three of us, Colin still managed to, like, poke at Rodgers and poke at the Packers and poke at Matt like 5 times during his spiel. He did what he was supposed to do, but he still managed to bring up Eli Manning like 4 times.
It's so great. I can only do it with you guys.
Career 500 quarterback Eli Manning.
2-time Super Bowl champion, 2-time Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Gonna take that to the grave.
Yeah,
So
Mario
right.
Manningham and David Tyree deserve those MVPs.
That's
Yeah,
right.
they
I
do.
know Tyree like never played another down. Did Manningham ever play after that year?
Yeah.
He played some. Okay, but he wasn't like a star or anything.
No, he just screwed Penn State in 2005 and
Oh yeah, he was what? Is he Michigan State?
Michigan.
Yeah.
Worst loss in my life.
Oh, is that the one that's your worst one? I know there was a Michigan State one that you really you're really bitter about too.
The Michigan lost 2005. We should talk about that next time. Let's talk about the worst losses we've experienced as sports fans.
Okay, actually I like that. Yeah, let's do that. That's a good one.
Tease everybody.
Yeah,
Ooh.
yeah.
Think about it.
That'll be good. I mean, I
Between
already
now and
have
the
like
next 2.5 weeks.
Does it have to be like professional sports, or could it be like a game I participated in?
Whatever. We'll
both.
say
Do both.
let's pick like 2 or 3 each.
Okay.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So we'll be back in like 3 weeks, right? If we want to resume the week I get back.
4 weeks, 5 weeks, who knows?
I mean, I'm ready to resume the week I get back, which would be 3 weeks from now.
What's that week? The week of the 19th?
Yeah, the week of the 19th.
Yeah. All right.
So
we'll be back in everyone's ears on the 21st.
Yep. It'll be interesting to see where Judge is at then. That'll be fun. Yeah.
Yep. So we'll catch up on Judge. We'll catch up on the worst losses of our life. We'll talk about football.
Yep.
That'll be NFL will be 2 weeks in. College will be 4 weeks in.
And whether the Yankees figure their shit out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just in general. Yeah.
And Pujols might be at 700 homers by then.
Yeah, that's true. That would be pretty cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
Only the fourth player all time.
Yeah. And I think a lot of your more uptight baseball fans would say third. But
Whatever.
Yeah.
Bonds did it.
Yeah, he did it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
Bonds did something. Steroids.
Uh-huh.
Flaxseed.
Flaxseed. It is funny though, really quickly, and we got to go, but like really quickly, talking about like steroids and stuff and like the Tatis positive test and anything like that. And even like Robbie Cano, what's wild to me is if you look at the pictures of the guys in like the late 90s, early 2000s, like go and look at pictures of Bonds and McGuire and Sosa. Like they look fake. They look like artificially huge. Like it doesn't look natural, right?
Well, no. In addition to that, though, look at pictures of Bonds on the Giants when he artificial versus Bonds on the Pirates.
Oh yeah, exactly. Oh,
that is the most damning.
So stark.
Thing.
So
again,
stark.
Same thing. Early 90s,
Sosa.
50 home run. A's McGuire versus late 90s 70 home run. Or Cardinals McGuire. Like he just went from a big guy to a really fucking big guy.
Yeah. And so the thing is like, and I guess the reason it seems, I mean, I don't know, it's hard to think about degrees with all of this, but like Tatis doesn't look anything like that. Cano never did. I mean, Cano, was pretty thick, but like never anything like that. And so the people who are still doing stuff or whatever, there's nobody who looks like that. There's nobody who is like blowing up the sport the way those guys did, who are there's nobody doing things that were like inconceivable, right? We've talked about this before. For Sammy Sosa to hit 60 home runs 3 times in 4 years is inconceivable considering the entire history of the sport. For McGuire to hit 70 and then 65 in back-to-back years, inconceivable. For Bonds to hit 73 and then to intentionally walk 120 times, to have an 863 slugging, everything he did, right? Inconceivable, right? But nowadays, you have some really incredible players. You have amazing things. Aaron Judge could very well break 61, but he's 6'7" and 280 pounds, and he can poke a ball out 400 feet, no problem.
But what's crazy though is the next closest player with home is Schwarber with 36.
Yeah.
That is where it's like, oh shit.
Yeah, exactly.
That's where Judge is special this year.
It really is amazing.
15 ahead of the next closest person. So I don't want to hear shit about Shohei Ohtani. Like, yeah, okay, you hit some home runs, Shohei, but and you pitch every 5th day, but the rest of your offensive categories suck, and Aaron Judge is miles ahead of the rest of the league.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I think that can be a topic for the next time too. Has the shine of Ohtani's specialness already worn off, or is it just a symptom of being on the Angels? If he played in New York, would he still be like, how excited we were about it last year? And I was even excited like when the Yankees played the Angels at Yankee Stadium and they weren't on so late. But I don't know. It just seems like people, and maybe it's because it's Judge and it's New York, and this home run record is always sacred no matter what. And people are like, yeah, Judge is going to get the MVP this year. But like, I think by most numbers, Ohtani's having a better year this year than he had last year.
But Judge has still been better. Yeah, Judge has just been so good.
Yeah, Ohtani's special, but the distance between Judge and everyone else this year is incredible.
Yeah.
I do think that's interesting, though, Kyle. We should talk about that. Yeah, I like that.
All right. Well, I'll make sure to listen to this. I'll save it, and I'll listen to it the day before we record so we can remember everything that we were supposed to talk about.
Okay, sweet.
All right, boys. Any shout-outs before we go?
Nah.
Nothing.
We are